Each other.
We'll press it up until we cross the street.
We start off at Lionel's booth where they have their HO Scale Polar Express. They also had some samples of their HO Scale Fast Track. They also had this announcement as they acquired some model power tooling. My brother and I have 2 model power locomotives and we managed to double head them and make them pull 16 cars without any issues. But 5 years later, the steam engine doesn't run very well as it used to. But I'm glad Lionel can easily make more HO scale trains now. On one table with some scenery, they were showing off their NS First Responders set and their Mickey Mouse set. Here's some more of their traditional O-gauge stuff that was released in 2018. We didn't have the Volume 2 catalog until a few weeks later. I do like these 4-axle freight cars, they look pretty cool. They also had the unpainted pre-production sample of their brass K2A. We move over to Bachmann's booth, where they were running their new ACS 64 with some older amphileets, as well as one of their new Easy Street pickup trucks. Now to the part where most of us were waiting for, the Bachmann Thomas & Friends shelf. Their James model did have the updated black wheels, and their Paxton and Grumpy Diesel models were now available. Their pamphlets didn't say anything about Rusty or the express coaches, and they didn't have any models of it. I was unable to ask any of them at Bachmann at the train show, although they revealed Rusty a few weeks later. Duck is missing one of his buffers, and someone left Henry's tender backwards. Seeing the narrow gauge models in person made me even more wanting to buy them, especially next to the water towers and at trackside huts. Their model of the Spiteful brake van was missing its end. I took this picture to show that the G-scale Toby does not have rods, just like the HO scale one. This shelf had some of their new 440s. They look nice and shiny, especially the Pennsylvania one. The Mikado and the Niagara have a nice flat black paint. I also thought this Baldwin Locomotive Works 060 was pretty cool. I'm glad they made this demonstrator livery of the ACS 64, and the SEPTA livery was announced pretty quickly after it debuted in real life. Another one of their mid-year announcements in HO scale was the Streamline K4 Pacific in 4 different road numbers. I don't know if 4 engines carried that streamlining. And also these scale test cars, they're pretty small. They had a shelf of all their N-scale locomotives. Not different than what they did with their other scales. It's a pretty neat comparison between the starter set Pennsylvania passenger car and the separate sale Pennsylvania passenger car. This model of Rio Grande Southern 40 looks really nice, almost as good as the real versions, and I've seen some of the real versions in person. Sorry for the really blurry picture of their 060s and 030s. Got this picture of the track voltage tester because I kinda want one. Their O-gauge Pacifics are really nice, way much nicer than their 460s. Well, they finally did have samples of their F59 PHIs. I wonder if they'll make a Metra version. This vendor here had a test track and a lot of scale trains locomotives. This one vendor had like an Ertl Gold Rail Annie and an Ertl mail car for like $1 each. I regret not buying them. This here is Railsmith's Models, Walt Disney's private train set. This train never really existed, but I did like that each car is a different color. Kinda like a Pride train bow. Now we move on to Cato's table, where they have their SDP-40Fs and Auto Train cars in N-scale. Behind the Operation North Pole sets, you can see why I really like N-scale. You can make really long trains, especially in a really small space. They also had their diesel Hiawatha running past their Metro depot in N-scale. This here was their HO scale stuff. This roundhouse and turntable are really narrow, and there aren't any extra tracks to extend your roundhouse. They also had this GS4 on their railroad crossing, but I didn't see any of their Japanese releases. Wasn't too much that caught my attention at the Walthers table, but there was these SD70 ACEs and this Amtrak Dome car. At the Athearn table, I saw one of their starter sets and their SD60Es and the Spirit of the Union Pacific. This Northern Pacific car from the coach yard looked pretty cool with the windows on the end. This here is Roco's table, which makes European HO scale models. They also had a passenger train running.
To give you an idea about that, 2014, I was going from California to Illinois. Have you ever heard of Train Fest?
This was a company I never heard about before, Rokuhan, which makes Japanese Z-scale. In the background are some Z-shorty models, which are Z-scale versions of the B-shorty models, which are made by Nankei. On the ESU table, they had a pair of Australian models. I thought they were extremely hard to find outside of Australia. I really like the weathering job on this war bonnet. I would like to have a model of that, or even better, the real thing. And this is the same engine in my channel icon taken on a different day. Here's the Markland and LGB table where they have their 50th anniversary train. And some Southern Pacific Alco stuff and EMD repowered. They also had this really nice unpainted Gauge 1 model on a rolling road. A lot of times seeing unpainted samples of model trains makes me want to get an unpainted sample. And here's Hornby's table running the Flying Scotsman. I'm really glad Hornby's 00 gauge is now available in America. Though they only had 2 starter sets available in North America at the time I was there, the Flying Scotsman and the Mallard Pullman. The lowest price I've seen for those 2 sets are $200 each. I also had 8 steam locomotives there. I believe the top left is a King class, and the next to it is a Castle class. Down there's a Standard 5, and the one to the right is a B1. I'm just kind of guessing. In this corner, in the same order as last, there's a Standard Class 4, a Hall class. Then there's another B17, and there's a Q1. And apparently Pecco Model Railways is selling some of their stuff in North America too. And I believe I caught a glimpse of some of their 009 coaches. At the MTH booth, quite a few neat models have returned to the Premier line, including the 3-piece Coal Turbine number 80. MTH has a lot of Pennsylvania Railroad HO scale engines.
$50.
I forgot the name of this seller, but they were selling a lot of Bachmann, Thomas & Friends at really good prices, including Oliver at $65. Bachmann themselves were selling Grumpy Diesel for $112, but this seller was selling them for $60. And even the most expensive model, Spencer, was less than $100. I'm extremely disappointed that I forgot who this seller was and that I didn't buy anything from them. This one table was selling a whole bunch of Rainbow Thomases. There was also quite a few wooden railway. And I don't mean the unpainted wood, there wasn't very much of that. In part 2 of my trip to the 2018 National Train Show, I will be showing you all the layouts that were not from manufacturers or dealers. So stay tuned.